Hey there, Rip City. Welcome into the fifth quarter. Chris Burkhardt here, filling in for the man Chad Doing. Of course, you heard him doing the post-game show there, filling in for Mike Litch, so you know he was gone. You knew I was here. Apparently, my Brian No impersonation's pretty good, though. My children asked me why I kept yelling "doing" during the pregame show, which made me laugh. And if you're listening to the Rip City Drive, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Me, I'm just jazzed right now, okay? You can hear it. I'm not even messing around. I'm just like, what? The Blazers won that game? Watching that game, well, I was doing like the back and forth. I was watching something on TV, then I was listening on the radio, back and forth. And I was like, you listen to the first quarter and the first half, you're like, this team's coming out slow. This team's coming out slow. I don't know if they're going to be able to get through this. I don't know if they're going to be able to get it done. Cleveland, they were pretty slow too, though. And then when it was all said and done, luckily for the Blazers, they got the job done. Incredible performance from the Blazers in this one as they pick up the 103-95 victory over the home team Cleveland Cavaliers. Once again, I am Chris Burkhardt taking the hosting job today. You can follow me on the X app, formerly known as Twitter, at Chris J. Burkhardt. Send me some questions and comments. If you want to join the chat on the phone, you can, 503-248-0620. And I know that some of you are just afraid to call in because that's a lot of pressure. And to be completely honest, that would have been me. I don't like calling in, but you have another way to get in on the chat. Go to youtube.com right now. Type in Rip City Radio. We are live streaming this bad boy so you can get in on the chat as well. We're Han in King City, who is a first, I don't know what you call him. You get like, you're like a platinum member, Han. If this were hotels, right? You know, you got gold status and silver status, platinum. You're like a titanium elite. You've been watching the fifth quarter streams since day one of last year. And as Han points out, he likes the hat. He likes the hat. I am wearing this awesome gingerbread hat. It's a gingerbread man holding a baseball cap. It's very Christmas themed, but thanks to the guys at Portland's own Baseballism, it's a beautiful, beautiful cap. Let me tell you what. Got to get in the mood, man. I love this time of year. My favorite time of year, the holiday season, baby. But Blazers, again, 103-95 victory over the Cleveland Cavaliers. And interestingly enough, I am not Nostradamus over here. I don't know everything. But some of the keys to the game that we said early in the pregame show during game day came to fruition. Like those were the things that ended up winning them the ball game tonight. Let's take a look at some of the stats. One of the keys that we did have in this game was get them out of the paint, right? Because this team doesn't shoot the three ball well, so you're going to have to play good defense down low. And interestingly enough, that is what happened early on as the Cavs got out to the lead and were really dominating the game because they were getting those easy buckets in the paint. This team is not a good three-point shooting team, and tonight they were well below their average because their average on the season is about 35%. They shot tonight at 21.9%, 7 of 32, but they were having their way early in the paint, and then when the Blazers started to make their initial comeback, it was because they changed up how they were guarding in the paint. So you like to see that because that was something we knew it was going to happen. Another thing that this was going to come down to was rebounding and how we said that Jeremy Grant and DeAndre Ayton and Jabari Walker and whoever else they threw in there, maybe Tamani Kamara and Duop Reith, if he got a run, we're going to have to really, really battle on the glass because Cleveland is a much better rebounding team than the Blazers. And in this game, that may have been the difference because Portland won that rebound battle 40-35. A lot of that having to do with the fact that Jabari Walker went ham tonight. He only played a little over 20 minutes in this one, but he posted a career-high 12 rebounds in those 23 minutes. So we knew going in that they were going to have to be active on the glass, and they absolutely were. So great job there on the glass. And then they were active defensively. Okay, as we pointed out in the game just a few nights ago in Atlanta, Donovan Mitchell dropped a 40-piece. All right, he went through the McDonald's drive-through. He ordered 40 nuggets. He ate them all. It was an incredible performance. So you knew the Blazers were going to have to get on those guys defensively. And sometimes you look at situations, and it's a little bit of a good defense plus a bad shooting night. And I think that played in both ways. But again, as Han in King City points out in the chat, right after I said this team did not shoot the three ball well, he points out those three-point shooting stats. And look at this box score, guys. Darius Garland led the way, so to speak, for the Cavs with 2 3-pointers, but he was 2 of 8. You know who shot a better 3-point percentage than him in this one? Matisse Thybulle, Duop Reith, like the guys that you don't really think of as 3-point shooters. Except Duop Reith can shoot that thing, as we've learned. But he was the leader for the Cavs. Donovan Mitchell, 1 of 9. You don't see that one happen often. Max Strus, 1 of 6. And then you just got everybody else. LeVert, Yang, Okoro was 1 for 1, but LeVert 1 for 4, Yang 1 for 3, Mobley 0 for 1. Did not shoot the 3 ball well. And on the Blazers side of things, something happened that you absolutely love to see. And this was something, again, we talked about pregame, and this has been a little bit of a hang-up for a lot of Blazer fans as of late. And that's just like, what happened to Shaedon Sharpe? What happened? Like he started the season so good, and then he's just hit this lull where the shot hasn't been falling. He's just looked tired, so to speak. And you know what? Maybe the extra days off really, really did help. It's not very often you get a game on a Monday and then get those 2 days off on the road. Nonetheless, very, very rare, it seems, in the NBA. And maybe that helped because Shaedon Sharpe tonight, he got back to the bucket getting ways that we've started to fall in love with early on in the season. Led the Blazers with 29 points, 11 of 15 shooting, by far his best shooting night in some time, 4 of 7 from deep. And then another thing in this one that really stands out to me, after the great performances from Malcolm Brogdon and Jeremy Grant and DeAndre, and each going with 20 plus to get that win over the Pacers, this one was won in a much different way. And this was the fact that basically all 5 starters were in double figures. I mean, Tamani Kamara had 9 points. Let's just round up to 10 and say all 5 starters were in double figures for all intents and purposes. 9 points from Tamani is a huge output for him. And then on the bench, too, you got 13 from Duop Reith and 10 from Matisse Thybulle. This was an all-around great performance. And what I love about this game in particular is that there's been 3 straight games now, and each one of them has been won or lost and played overall in just much different ways, right? Portland gets out to a very, very hot shooting night, then goes ice cold as Milwaukee ramps up their defense. They lose a 26-point lead, and they drop that game on the road in Milwaukee. Then they go into Indiana, and they take on the best offensive team in the league, and they somehow kind of shut them down, outscore them in a really good battle both ways from tip to final buzzer, and win that game in Indy. And then in this one, it played out similar to Milwaukee, but with the roles flipped, right? Because Cleveland gets out to the big lead, is taking care of business. They're up by 16 early. I mean, you look at the Blazers and you're like, okay, you score 22 in the first quarter, 18 in the second, 40 points in the first half. That's not going to get the job done. You got to figure something out. But like Milwaukee was just a few nights ago, Portland was able to claw out of this one just by being relentless. And it's just kind of fun to watch these games play out in 3 distinctly different ways. So I like that. Absolutely. There are some negatives to this game, and of course we will get to those as well. And one of those is the man Scoot Henderson. And we'll talk about him when we get to what's the Scoot here in just a little bit. But some other things to point out, and what were your takeaways is what I want to know, and you know what to do. Get on YouTube, go to Rib City Radio, jump in the chat, tell me what you thought about this one, or do the other right thing. Grab the phone, 503-248-0620. Get on with me, and we'll have this conversation throughout the night about the game. And one of the comments here from Sean, not very many free throws tonight, but how often do both teams shoot 100% from the line? That is an interesting point, Sean, because he's right on both counts. Total in this one, there was just 23 free throw attempts, 11 from the Blazers, 12 from Cleveland, 100% shooting for both teams, 11 for 11 and 12 for 12. We're going to have to tweet out or text out, reach out to our friend Tom Habistro, the analytics insider for our Portland Trail Blazers, to figure out when that has ever happened before, if it's happened before. Because, Sean, that's a really good point. That was a really good point. And then Han pointed out that Sharp was also a monster on the board tonight. And just, man, you're right. 10 rebounds, 5 assists. I mean, he had an all-around great game. He absolutely did. This is fun to me, guys. We were asked the question, and by we, I mean me and my partner, Chad Doing, here on this show, just like, how do you find fun in this season when it's just so up and down? And it's like little stretches like this, because like I said, these 3 games have been so unique, so different, won and played in different ways, and then you catch little things. And when you see performances like tonight from Shaden Sharp, and you get big buckets from Duop Reith, and as the broadcast pointed out, I mean, the Tamani Kamara, along with Reith and Walker, playing big minutes in clutch situations, making good defensive plays. That's great to me, because the fact that there's been so many games lately where it was so-and-so made a good defensive play, that's pretty awesome. And that's what I love about games lately. They're just fun to watch. And like I said, win in a variety of ways. All right, if you want to join the conversation, hit us up, 503-248-0620. Super producer Mike Oakes in his comfy producer lounge will answer that phone, get you on hold. I'll get to you, or you can join the chat, youtube.com/Rip City Radio. If you are on hold, stay there. I will get to you, but we are going to take a quick break first. And when we get back, we'll bring you your shot of the night. We will still hear from Coach Billups before this is over. And, of course, we will take your calls. So, Miguel and Christina, hold tight. I'll get you on the backside of the break. Chris Burkhardt here on your home of the Blazers, Rip City Radio 620.
Guides it across the in line with one to shoot. Turns, fires, caught rim, free ball. Nice ball, fires it up and in. Nice from Matisse. Matisse gives him a lead.
That was your shot of the night. Matisse Thybulle giving the team the late lead there, late in the second half. And beautiful of it. Listen to that again.
Guides it across the in line with one to shoot. Turns, fires, caught rim, free ball. Nice ball, fires it up and in. Nice from Matisse. Matisse gives him a lead.
There you go. Nice little putback for Tease to get up in there. And this is the fifth quarter. I'm your host, Chris Burkhardt, filling in for Chad Doing today. If you want to jump in on the chat, you know what to do. 503-248-0620 to join in via the phone, or youtube.com, typing in Rip City Radio. Go like, share, and subscribe. That's what everyone says on YouTube, right? That's what all the creators I follow say, so it must be doing something right. But follow that thing and join the chat there. And to our man, Han in King City, I got to point out, Han, every time we get more followers, I thank you, because it was last year you said, man, congrats on 300. And I was like, we're working hard. And you're like, I can't wait to come in here and say, congrats on 5. I'm looking at the number, 741 right now. Pretty good for this young little YouTube channel, I must say. All right, let's go out to the phone lines, though. We do have a couple people who've been waiting patiently. First, let's head out to Miguel. Miguel, welcome into the fifth quarter. The floor is yours.
Hey, how you doing?
Doing well, man.
Just calling in about the Blazers win. That's 2 in a row. A couple of times they could have been close to a couple of runs. Think about earlier in the season when they dropped an easy one and then they won in Toronto. Again, this isn't a team, I called in the other night, this isn't a team who lacks defensive effort, as they're a top 15 defensive team. And again tonight, they're only letting opponents score 112, 113 per game, and tonight well under that at 95, and themselves not an offensive performing team, but, shooting above what they usually average, not by much, just a couple of points. But the difference tonight, as cliche as it sounds, is three-point shooting. Cleveland's usually around 35% and shot horribly tonight, and that could have been the difference. If they get 3 more in, it could have been a closer game down the neck of the it wasn't. So tonight, Portland was consistent with their shooting. Free throw shooting was great, but again, it was another defensive effort that hasn't lacked all season. It's been the offensive side, so their defense, again, proving to play the big factor in this win. And I think that's what's kept them in this game so far this year. And I think they honestly could have 8 wins. They dropped 2 that they could have had. They could be 9-12 easily, though.
Yeah, and I want to ask you that, Miguel, just being a fan, right? Like, this game in particular was really interesting because the offense started out so poor to start. Had they not been bringing it on the defensive end, kind of like you said, they would have been down much bigger at halftime, and perhaps a hole that they couldn't have climbed out of. So having to deal with over the last few years where defense was pounded into our heads, but you just weren't seeing it as a fan, just how nice is it to watch these games and know that you can almost rely on that defense right now?
That has been really nice. That was the one thing actually coming into the season that I was excited about was, let's see how we're going to act defensively, because we're losing our biggest threat offensively. What are we going to do on the other side? So I thought, what's going to keep us in games is fresh legs. What I didn't know was that we were going to be staying in games late, even when we were down early. Is I've seen what's reminded me of about the 2009 to 2012 team, when the Goonies Never Say Die was a big thing in Portland. I get that vibe from this team, that there's no quit and no die in this team.
I like that. Absolutely. Like, anytime you can fit a Goonies reference into the show, it's a good night, Miguel.
Definitely. Yeah, again, all I've said this year is, for me, a great season for the Blazers is 36 wins, and I think for sure they get 28, but I think a great season for them is 36. The optimistic Blazer side of me says they go 500. That's my ceiling for them. But the realistic is 28. But I think that they could get 36.
Yeah, absolutely. And thanks for the call, Miguel. I assume, Miguel, but most people probably shoot you down quite quickly when you say 36. I know Chad is a 28er, I believe. I'm gonna tell you, you know what? I like what you're laying down because I don't really change my predictions based on anything that happens. You lay them out in the early in season and you stick with it. And I said 33. Now they struggled out of the gate a little bit. Like you said, they've dropped some games that they probably could have won, but I think 33 is a good season. They're not going to make the playoffs at 33, but that's still a productive season for me. And I know some people would like that number to be much, much, much lower because they would rather have lottery picks and get up into the number one territory and all that. But man, I can't do that. I don't like tanking. If you guys listen to the show, you know I've said it before, even the last year with Dame. Like I am not a fan of mailing it in. I think winning is much better than anything else. And we'll see what happens with this team moving forward. But even if they lose, man, when they have a performance like this, it's absolutely phenomenal, especially when the defense is doing it. Busted Bucket podcast say they've got Burke fever. Thank you. Not everybody appreciates that sign. It was funny. It was for the I didn't just do that just to be honored. It was a comment from Chad commenting on Nurk fever. So I found a quick way to change it without completely getting rid of the sign, because I feel like you got to keep the sign. It's a little bit of history and nostalgia from the Nurk fever days, right? Absolutely you do. And having some fun with that. What else we got? Han says, do you think at some point Chauncey needs to make Sharp the number one option on offense? Isn't that that's a good question, my man, because he's playing super well tonight. We'll see how excuse me. Woof, man. Had a cough, but we'll see how it happens when Ant gets back and you get another scorer in the mix. All right, sometimes you see a name pop up on the phone line and they got to skip to the front of the line. It only happens rarely, but this guy, you'll understand why he skips to the front. It is my pleasure to welcome in the true host of the show, Chad Booing, to the fifth quarter. Chad, how you doing?
Very well. Good Brian Noah right there. I appreciate that. But I figure if the Blazers are going to play good basketball, I need to call in so I can be a part of the show because the last two games have been tremendous. But, man, how about the defense in the second half tonight, really getting after it and creating issues for the Cavs? That was awesome.
It was wonderful because it seems so weird to say that this team wins game with their defense. How often have we got to say, since I have started working here with you, how often have we got to say that?
Yeah, I'm telling you, it's really it's a sight for sore eyes for all of us because this team, one thing I know about this club now after watching them through the first part of the season, Chris, is they play hard and they play defense, and because of their defense, they create opportunities from that, and we saw it again tonight where I thought for sure that I wasn't expecting a victory when they're down 40-24 in that first half, but their defense created opportunities in transition, and the energy and the effort that Chauncey has the guys playing with is that they're making things happen for themselves on the court, even when they get off to a slow start like we saw tonight from the field.
Yeah, absolutely. It's because it kept them in it as well. And then watching this game, Chad, how nice was it to watch Shaedon Sharpe kind of get back, right? He's been down for a few games, struggling. The shot hasn't been there. The point production hasn't been there. A monster game tonight, and what I believe was his first career double-double.
Yeah, 29 points, 10 rebounds. He had the shot going. He was playing under control. He shot a high percentage. He had more confidence in finishing around the rim tonight. He had the whole package, and he was playing at the right pace. And you could tell that he was comfortable out there on the floor, but he led the way, and I just love watching how the veterans, especially when he's got it going like we saw tonight, they have no problems letting him kind of, direct things out there on the floor. But Shaedon Sharpe was terrific, and, it wasn't just him, but multiple guys. Dewap Reef making a contribution. I thought Matisse Thybulle was critical. And then early on when the team was struggling to score, you had, Aiden with 8 points in the first quarter. So like we've seen, it's that recurring theme, Burkhardt, where you get multiple guys making contributions to help them be in a position to compete.
Yeah, absolutely. We haven't got to it yet. I'll dive in more here in the next segment on Scoot Henderson. But what's your takeaway from a rough 1 for 8 2-point performance from the Blazers rookie?
Yeah, he didn't shoot well, and I know that people get frustrated with that, but I watched him tonight, and he looks like he's more comfortable with the ball in his hands. I think he had 3 turnovers tonight, but there were a couple of situations where he was able to drive in, and he found Reef underneath the rim. He didn't score, but he got fouled. He looks like the game is slowing down. So we know the shooting numbers, that will take some time, but I'm paying attention more to his handling of the basketball, his decision-making, and how he sets his teammates up. So I thought he was okay tonight. I'd probably give his performance like a C, if I was going to grade it. But the main thing I'm watching is just his pacing and how comfortable he looks out there on the floor.
Yeah, Chad, and I would say what stands out to me is the fact that he had 7 assists in just 22 minutes. And even though they're like, oh, he played 22 minutes, how often is he actually being the main facilitator right now? Because they're really experimenting with him. So to get that amount of assists when you aren't the primary ball handler at all times yet, I think is really impressive, honestly.
Yeah, and I think you nailed it. The 7 assists is impressive, but I guess what I like is when you see that he'll show flashes of how creative he is in the passing game and how easy it is for him to spot teammates and stuff. So I'm just enjoying watching him play because I truly believe that with each passing game each week as we continue to progress that he's going to show us more of those flashes for longer periods of time. And the shot making I think will be hit and miss, but pay attention to the ball handling, the creativity in the passing game, the way he sets his teammates up, and like you mentioned, the assist numbers, which tonight were solid.
Yeah, Chad, and defense. Speaking of defense might be the difference in one of the biggest games of my Duck fandom tomorrow night down in Vegas. I can't have you on for the last time. I'll talk to you before that game and not talk football. What are you feeling about this Pac-12 championship matchup?
Well, like you, I can't wait. I'm excited for the game. I think it's going to be it's arguably the biggest game in Pac-12 history, but it's going to be a monster game. The one thing that's really fishy to me is I saw the line. The point spread's up to 10 now.
I saw that.
I don't think there's any way that the Ducks are going to cover the 10. I think it's going to be a close, competitive football game that that just like we saw in the first game, decision making by coaches, penalties and turnovers are going to determine the outcome. Just like all big games, usually comes down to 3, 4, potentially 5 plays that determine the outcome of the game. I see another game like that where every decision is going to be critical to determine who's going to come out on top.
Yeah, and I know you and I differ because I think the winner of that game is in the CFP. You don't because there's various things that can happen. But to tell you how confident I am the winner of that game is in, I'm going to stress if the Ducks win because I will have never in my life been as stressed watching an SEC championship game the following day, knowing that there's a chance that the Ducks might miss out.
Yeah, and I think every Duck fan is with you. We know one certainty. If Washington wins, they'll be in as an undefeated conference champ. If the Ducks win, they certainly have a great chance, but what you don't want as a Duck fan is Alabama winning the SEC championship game because then that could open the door for potentially 2 SEC clubs. And then Texas could be sitting there with 1 loss in a conference champ that has to win over Alabama and Tuscaloosa. So it gives the committee plenty of things to think about. And all my point is that, trusting the committee to do what you think is the right thing to do is a fool's errand. So I think for Duck fans, get the win against Washington tomorrow night, and just hope that Georgia takes care of business to prevent the committee from having to make tough choices.
Yeah, absolutely. And, this is not something you probably, people should tell their boss, but I'm just going to tell you, between Oregon and Washington and San Francisco, Philly, you're either going to get the best Chris Burkhardt next week, or I might have to call in sick and use a vacation day or 2 to recover because it's either going to be really good or really bad for me.
Oh, dude, it's the best time of year, man. It's like I was thinking about that today. I was like, dude, we get the Pac-12 title game tomorrow night, Oregon and Washington, right into Saturday where we're going to get the SEC title, Oregon or Alabama and Georgia. And then Sunday, my Denver Broncos are, playing for their 6th straight win against Houston, one of the teams they're competing against for a wild card spot. It's like that That's the type of sports weekend I'm talking about right there, man. We all love it. It's awesome.
November. It's just a great sports month, I must say.
And then sprinkled in there is just a nice little back-to-back wins for the Blazers on the road against Indiana and Cleveland. So that only helps sweeten the matter.
Absolutely, it does. All right, Chad, I'll let you get out of here. Go get your rest. We got big day, big weekend coming up, and another Blazer game on Saturday. So let's get to it, my man.
All right, I'm going to head to YouTube and start trolling you in the chat. Have a good night.
All right. There is the man, the myth, the boss, Chad doing his thing, man. Let's see. Chris E says, as a Duck alum, class of 03, SCO Ducks. I'll say this much, Chris. As a Duck alum, class of 2011, I hate SCO Ducks. Just say go. I don't know why SCO Ducks became a thing. Maybe I'm in this weird era where I don't like it. However, SCO Ducks, ducks of a feather. We got to flock together, my man. Go Ducks. I'm hyped. I can't wait. That game's, getting rid of the north-south thing was great. Now this gives us a chance to get Oregon, Washington in the game, championship, CFP on the line. Oh my gosh. I can't wait. I absolutely can't wait. All right, got to take a quick break here on the show. If you are on hold, stay there. I will get to you, I promise. But we got to go take a quick break. When we come back, I don't know. What's the scoreboard? I'll talk to my producer, see what we're doing. Chris Burkhardt here on your home of the Blazers, Rip City Radio 620. All right, welcome back into the fifth quarter. It is time for What's the Scoot? And as Chad and I just talked about a second ago, rough night for Scoot Henderson. In the pregame show, I said I was hoping it might be the first night he hit 20. Well, the point total for him did indeed start with a 2. It was just a single-digit number. He had 2 points on 1 of 8 shooting, 0 of 5 from deep. Wasn't the best performance overall in the scoring category. And I know people want to get mad about that, but man, I would just continue to watch this kid because he's starting to show a lot of really good signs about just where he's supposed to be, what he's doing, and feeling comfortable. The scoring's going to come. Like, Scoot is a bucket. We talked about this pregame. Like, Scoot's going to be good offensively when the team just lets him be Scoot. Right now, I think they're experimenting a little bit. They're trying to do a lot of different things with him to see how comfortable he is. And once they know that, I think they know how flexible their rotations can be in the long run. And it's also beneficial to maybe play the 2 so that you can know what shooting guards are going to do when you're in that primary point guard position. But the fact that he had 7 assists tonight, which was tied with Malcolm Brogdon for the team lead, despite the fact that he only played 22 minutes to Brogdon's 31, and a lot of the time he is playing off the ball as he's learning everything, I like that a lot. So it's only a matter of time before you start seeing double-digit assist games regularly, and that 7 number is more of an average. Got to get the scoring total up, that's for sure, and I think it will get there in the long run. That is what is the Scoot. Let's check in with the YouTube chat real quick, and again, if you don't know what that is, go to youtube.com. Everybody does it. It's only the second most used social media app on the planet right next to Facebook. Go there, type in Rip City Radio. Get in here, join the chat. Tell us what you're thinking. The Orb says watching defense is 1,000 times more fun than Dame solo ball. Hey, I love watching Dame do his thing, but man, when you can watch a team and a single player, Orb, play really, really good defense, there's something so mesmerizing about it. Like I said this back when I was covering that team back in like 14. It's like, dude, like there's something so cool about watching Wesley Matthews just play defense. And guys who are really good on that end, they can get your attention. It's incredible. Let's see what else. Yeah, just great win tonight has been re-uttered multiple times. Love to see how excited Scoot gets after he's dropping a dime. That is fun. And yeah, they're starting to play well. They're starting to play for each other. I like everything that is going on with this team. Now, if you don't want to join the chat on YouTube, which is popping, also shout out to my podcasting buddies, the Trailcasters and Busted Bucket Podcast. Two great guys. Go give them a like. Go give them a follow. And big shout out to Chris for saying he's not going to say SCO Ducks anymore. Chris, I'm going to give you this one, okay? Over the next 24 hours, I'm not telling any Duck fan how to fan. You go do you. They win that game, I will yell the loudest SCO Ducks. I'll wake up my neighborhood. SCO will be a thing. I don't care what our saying has to be. I'm just going to be hyped. I just don't know when SCO started and why it started. But look what we got here now. Busted Bucket with a SCO Chris. I'm going to change the Burke Fever sign to SCO Zers. Just mix it all together. Have some fun. SCO, go, Bo knows. I don't know. Just do what you want to do. Just as long as it ends with Ducks, I'm happy. Green and yellow. Go Ducks. All right, let's head out to the phone lines. Christina has been waiting patiently. Friend of the show, loves to call in when Chad's around. Christina, how we doing?
I am good. Both my team won tonight.
Both of them? Who's the other one?
Both the Pacers and Blazers.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. And I have a question for you.
What's that?
You know how you are a 49er fan?
Oh, yeah, big-time 49er fan.
Well, I have a daily wife already. You want it?
Oh, no, that's okay. You can keep it. Here's the thing, Christina. I know you like hooking us up, but if you got something with Jerry Rice's name on it, you don't just give that away. You got to keep that bad boy. He's the greatest receiver of all time.
I am not a 49er fan.
Hey, that doesn't matter. You still got to keep the Jerry Rice memorabilia. You got to pay respect to the greats, right? Like, I'm not a Cowboy fan, but man, if I had Emmitt Smith memorabilia, I'd be keeping that and hanging it up with pride. He's one of the greatest running backs ever.
And I also have a Jerry Still autographed jersey here in my neighbor.
Oh man, that's pretty awesome too. See, you need to get on the YouTube so the whole world can see your collection behind you on the camera all the time.
Unfortunately, I can't. I am in a wheelchair.
Well, you just got to call up your friends, have everyone hook you up, man.
Yeah.
See, the thing is, even if you're in a wheelchair, Christina, that doesn't stop anybody from getting on YouTube. You see the camera right in front of you, and you're already sitting down. Look at that. I stand up here. You're nice and comfortable. You're right there. You're ready to go. I think you got to make it happen so the world can see this memorabilia stash you got.
Yeah. Yeah. I love you, Chris, because you are my favorite next to Chad Doing.
That's right. I'm the favorite right next to Chad Doing. Thank you, Christina. And thanks so much for calling in. And I love it. You're so sweet. You call in and you want to try to give us some of the merch because we're Niner fans and Chad's a Denver fan. But man, you got to hold on to some of that stuff. I can't in good conscience just be taking free Jerry Rice swag. That stuff's worth some money. Like I said, you don't even have to get on YouTube Live, Christina, because the wheelchair is not a hindrance. You can still do amazing things. And what you need to do is you need to get your phone or borrow someone else's or get a camera, and you just need to click, 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 click. And you need to get pictures of that memorabilia out to the world because every time you call, you got something different. You got John Elway, you got Jerry Rice, got Larry Steele. You got it all. I love it. I love it. I love sports fandom. Righteous Brother chimes in, gives me another Go Ducks. I love the Go Duck fandom coming out in solidarity here this fine week before this Pac-12 championship game. If any of my Beaver fans want to come in here, do it too. We'll stand together with you here. I know social media makes you think that a lot of Duck fans are happy at what's happening down there in Corvallis. I'll tell you what, this Duck fan is not. I don't wish any of that upon any program. Losing a guy who could have been, should have been the greatest coach your program's ever had, losing multiple players to the transfer portal, no future with the conference. And I'm not saying that to rub it in. I'm saying that because I don't wish that upon anybody. And even though the Ducks are going into the Big Ten and I'm excited about that, I didn't want to see the Pac-12 die. Nobody wanted to see the Pac-12 die. All right, got to take a quick break here on the fifth quarter. When we come back, and give a scoreboard report, get you updated on all the latest scores around the league. And we will hear from head coach Chauncey Billups, hear what he had to say following the Blazers' 103-95 win in Cleveland. Chris Burkhardt here on the fifth quarter on your home of the Blazers, Rip City Radio 620. All right, welcome back into the fifth quarter. Chris Burkhardt here filling in for Chad Doing. And it is time for a quick scoreboard report. So let's take a minute to go around the NBA world and see how things played out. First off, 8.7 seconds left in overtime. The Bulls have the 117-113 lead over the Bucks. Nikola Vucevic, 29 points, 10 boards, and 6 assists. Giannis Antetokounmpo, 26 points, 14 rebounds. 10 minutes, 39 seconds left in the second quarter. Warriors up on the Clippers, 35-25. James Harden with 7 points. Steph Curry with 6, still early in that one. And final scores from around the league. The Hornets grabbed the 129-128 victory over the Nets. Terry Rozier leading the way with 37 points, 13 assists. Nick Claxton, 20 points, 14 rebounds for the Nets. In Miami, the Heat grabbed the 142-132 victory over the Pacers. Jimmy Butler, 36-10. Tyrese Halliburton, a huge 44-point, 10-assist performance for the Pacers. The Knicks grabbed the 118-112 victory over the Pistons as the Pistons mega slide continues. Jalen Brunson, 42 points, 6 rebounds, and 8 assists. Cade Cunningham, 31 points, 8 assists for the Pistons. Minnesota continues their hot play. They improved to 14-4. Absolutely incredible. With a 101-90 victory over the Jazz. Karl Anthony Towns, 32 points and 11 rebounds for Minnesota. OKC grabs a 133-110 victory over the Lakers. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, 33.7 assists. Anthony Davis, 31 points, 14 rebounds. And in San Antonio, the Hawks grabbed the 137-135 victory over the Spurs. Jeremy Sochan, 33 points, 8 rebounds, 6 assists for the Spurs. Trae Young, 45 points, 14 assists for the Hawks. And, of course, a final in Cleveland. Your Portland Trailblazers grab the 103-95 victory over the Cleveland Cavaliers. Donovan Mitchell, 23-7-6 for Cleveland. Shaedon Sharpe, 29-10, his first career double-double for the Portland Trailblazers. That is a wrap. That is the scoreboard. Excuse me. Woo. My apologies. Burp right into the mic. That was like a cough burp. Everything wrapped into one. Gross. Come on, Burkhardt. Anyway, let's head back out to Cleveland real quick. Hear what Chauncey Billups had to say after that Blazers victory tonight.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously tale of two halves. I thought that physicality and jumping in the passing lanes hurt us in the first half. And we were just like, I mean, we were too, like, we playing like robots out there. We talked before the game about they're going to be in the passing lanes. Cut behind the defense. You know, we'll get layups and dunks. We'll be able to create other opportunities, and we just didn't do it. And I thought outside of the turnovers, you know, defensively we played well enough in the first half to keep it close. So coming in halftime and we talk about, again, what we have to do to alleviate their pressure, but also saying, man, we're in good shape. You know, we're okay. We're in good shape. Let's just take care of the basketball and see what happens. You know, and we did that. I thought our second group came in with some incredible energy. You know, Jabari's big 12 rebounds, Scoot 7 assists, Wap, you know, made some shots, and obviously Shaedon was special tonight, like he is oftentimes. And everybody else just kind of helped, pitched in. Matisse's minutes were big. Everybody, you know, and that's how we have to do it. We have to collectively try to give ourselves a chance every night.
You mentioned Shaedon's night. I mean, how would you describe what we saw?
Well, I was even on him in the first half. You know, he was moving around out there like, you know, like we was in the summertime playing pickup ball. So I had to get after him. And he came out there and, you know, I tell him all the time, I don't care if you're mad at me, act like you're playing against me sometimes, you know, and just go out there and get after it. So he did that. I mean, he was great. I mean, not only his 29 points, which were big, with 10 rebounds. He got some grown man rebounds out there, him and Jabari. You know, when we made an adjustment defensively and decided to switch everything, you always worried about it from a defensive rebounding standpoint. But those young fellas, they went and got some grown man rebounds.
Chauncey, who do you credit for Garland tying his career high in turnovers and it's been a real rough night? Anybody in particular that you credit for the defensive work?
Well, I mean, it's really all of us. I thought I started shading on him. You know, his length, he's so strong, and I thought he bothered Darius a little bit in the game. But when we switch, it's everybody, you know. So it could be Tumani on him, it could be Tease on him, Jeremy, Jabari. It's just so many guys, you know, because we switch so much, to be honest with you. But when we switch, and what I love now is when we switch, the next guy just takes that personal responsibility to guard his yard, you know. So I think you can give it to all of them.
What do you think about what was it? Tired? Just kind of reckless? What do you?
Nah, I don't believe in tired. I ain't doing that.
Okay.
You know I ain't doing that. Just lack of focus. It's lack of focus. And it's the careless ones. I told them at halftime, you're gonna turn over, throw that shit out of bounds. At least we can get our defense set. But it's the live ball turnovers that we cannot get back and impact that. So, it's just it's just carelessness and lack of focus. That's all. We're not tired. We was good. We didn't play yesterday.
You know what, Chauncey? I don't believe in tired either. Except I say that I'm a parent, so I live in a constant state of fatigue with my 3 children, right? Nonstop, never sleeping, multiple jobs. Let's see, it is 8 o'clock, and I was at work at 7 this morning. So, yeah, I don't believe in tired either, Chauncey. I love it. And the team did. They played really good defense today, answered the call when he asked them to. Overall, great performance, and they got the win. And just real quick before we go, Sean asked, what do Blazer fans think of Billups so far? You know, I think he's molding the clay, and I think he's doing a really good job this year, all things considered. Know a lot of people, let the ship sail on him after the first 2 years, didn't want to give him a chance. But now that he has a team that he can actually mold, look how they're playing. I mean, it helps that he's got the roster and the bodies to do it, but they're playing really good defense, man. And if he can get the offensive side to come around, that would be wonderful. All I know is right now the team's fun as heck to watch, so I enjoy that a ton. All right, that's going to do it for the 5th quarter. A great show. Thanks to everyone in the YouTube chat for tuning in and everyone who called in as well. The Blazers will be back in action on Saturday against the Utah Jazz. Tip at 6:30. So quick math tells me that's a 4 o'clock game day, and I will be here. Chad will be on the pregame show. Once again, we will see you for game day. Again, youtube.com, Rip City Radio. Catch the live stream. Get in the comments. You guys, the comments are wonderful. Makes the show easy. Gives me great stuff to talk about, and I love talking about the Blazers and these games with you, so keep it up. I will see you on Saturday. It has been wonderful. And as my friend Chad would wrap a good show like this, show me your Blazer.